Meeple Nation Podcast, episode 380, July News.
Welcome, citizens of Meeple Nation. For the next 30 minutes, sit back and enjoy.
Meeple Nation Podcast is sponsored by GameToppersLLC.com. Go to their website, check out their product. They got an amazing topper that will go on any table, enhance all your games. Every game in your collection will be better on a game topper from GameTopperLLC.com.
They'll almost get me to play Monopoly.
That's impressive, Logan.
I'm going to try it again.
You know, they've been told that quite a bit. You should try this again. Maybe you'll like it this time. We'll see.
Welcome to Meeple Nation. We are your hosts.
The only accent you know.
Welcome to Meeple Nation. We are the hosts. I am Dave Holiday.
Wow, I'm so confused now.
I was just going to see if I could get you to do the accent.
Oh, I was going to try something.
Okay, well then we'll go back to that.
Okay. And I'm Logan Howard.
Lord. The accent, you've got to go with the lordship.
I'm sorry. Take 3. Don't know why sleeves have anything to do with it.
Roll up those sleeves. I'm ready now.
And I'm Lord Logan Howard.
And I'm Andy Holiday.
And I am Nathan Howard.
Well, you lost all your confidence when it comes to your name.
Well, I had to follow after the Lord. I mean, how am I supposed to respond to that?
You have to be, that was good.
A little deflated after that.
We've been telling you recently about our new webpage. Hopefully you've gone over and checked that out. If you have not, why have you not? It's a good time. It's worth it. Go check us out. MeepleNation.com. We've got some awesome blog posts. Got some cool photos. We have links to past episodes. We would love and appreciate all of your visits.
If you like what you see, you can subscribe to our newsletter so that when a new blog comes out, you can just be notified that way. This week, we're talking July news, new games, new experiences.
We did have our Hug a MeepleCon a while back now, but this is our first news episode that we've actually been able to talk post Hug a MeepleCon. We had a blast.
Wait a second, are we talking gaming highlights?
Yeah. Hug a MeepleCon's top of the list.
Totally.
Literally, there's a list and it's at the top.
There's nothing above it, but there's stuff below it. Top of the
list.
We had a ton of good times. I didn't actually write down a count of how many games I played. I could look it up. I think I played close to 20 games. Had a great experience playing Salem. Had a lot of fun there.
Loudest we've ever played Salem.
Scared the neighbors, I'm sure. There was some very good food that we had. Logan made some really good food. Andy made some really good food. The Hug a Meeple ladies, they showed us up for sure. You know, it's a casual thing. And this group of ladies, you know, it's almost this parade of food that they brought in, and it's all displayed nicely. And, you know, I brought in like a box of fruit snacks, and plop, there it is. And they had a tray of gloriously homemade cookies.
That they were individually wrapped and set on this tiered thing. Oh, yeah, it was wonderful.
Speaking of, thank you for the cookies. I finally got to eat them.
Well, that's right. Dave was on his elimination diet trying to figure out what he's allergic to, or better yet, what he's not allergic to.
And they were awesome and appreciated.
Logan and I got to go to Disney World, which we were trying to get you two to go with us, but you guys are lame and have responsibilities. Logan and I had this intention of playing a lot of games in Disney World. I only played 2 different games in Disney World. A little bit of Pass the Pig, and I introduced my wife to Ohanami. We've played that a ton since. Played it at least 10 times with my wife now. On Father's Day, played it 3 times with my daughter, my wife, and me, and then my wife and I played 4 more times after that. That was a winner for me to pick up that game. Great to find a game that she really enjoyed.
That's a great game. It's a great filler game. One that you can just play over and over again.
Really like that. We did get to play Networks at... You played that one, Dave?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, and I think you won that one, too, if I recall correctly. That was pretty fun. Picked up Skull, introduced to at Hug a MeepleCon. I didn't get to play it there, but Logan did, and we picked it up afterwards.
Pulled a full Sarah. That means I pull out my phone and order it while we're playing.
That was good times playing that at Hug a MeepleCon. We had a ton of fun.
I was in touch with the universe that night. It was amazing.
Yes, you were. It was amazing. It really was.
It didn't work the next time we played.
Some other highlights for me personally, well, I guess it's not just me personally. Dave and we started up a game of Stone Age on Board Game Arena. We'd played this game years ago. I thought I knew how to play it. As we were playing, I'm like, okay, yeah, I remember this. I knew Dave had won, but when the score did come back, apparently I don't remember how to play the game, because Dave scored 417, and I scored 161.
Ouch.
It's been a long time since I've been that humiliated in a game. It was fun to revisit the game. I didn't propose a rematch. Maybe later down the road.
You were ready to move on to the next game?
Yeah. It was fun still to go back to a classic game and eat some humble pie.
We made you super mad by playing Alchemist. That was a good time.
Alchemist did make me really mad.
But by the end,
I was still mad.
You were still mad, but you had figured out exactly what you were looking for.
Yeah.
So I think if we play again, I think Grumpy Nathan will stay home.
But I'm actually looking forward to a play again. You have a flavor for it, and hopefully a greater understanding. I definitely don't have the rules in the bag or the deduction of what results really mean, but I have a better understanding. So I am looking forward to the next play.
We did play Beyond the Sun. I'd forgotten what the game was, and Dave reminded me. It's not a beautiful game by any means. If someone likes to judge games by how they look, which I do sometimes, that's not a game I would have ever purchased.
It doesn't stand out at
not
all.
At all.
It's like, whoa!
I really had a fun time playing it.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. That's also one that Dave and I have been playing online. I'm yet to win it. It's a game that I look forward to getting beat up. As soon as that game ends, I'll go ahead and propose a rematch for that
one. We've done, 4 or 5 of them now? I don't know. It's fun. I've enjoyed it too. I keep altering my approach and doing a little bit different strategies, so one of these times maybe you'll dethrone me.
We've played it 5 times together now.
So we got to meet one of our listeners. Did a board game exchange on Facebook and got to meet Doug Stewart. Awesome guy. He sold me a board game. Anyway, found out that I was part of Meeple Nation. He was questioning all the board games I had in the back seat.
Why any normal person would have that many games in their back seat?
And buying another one?
Yeah. Anyway, so he started coming to game night. He taught us Nidavellir, which is a bidding game, and I am not a big fan of bidding games, but I had a lot of fun playing Nidavellir. It was a cool game.
Yeah, same with me. I really liked it a lot. Actually, I was just really happy to have Doug teach us that one, too. I think he enjoyed that. Talking about what are we going to play tonight, he mentioned that he had a few games, and so we were like, yeah, why don't you teach us something? And Doug's quite a gamer, actually. Really enjoyed having him come to our game nights. I think he's a fantastic guy. He's fun to play with, and he knows his stuff. That's the other thing that we talk about quite a bit with him, is he and Andy's collections are very, very different. They both have a lot of games, and they have hardly any overlap.
Which makes it nice, so he can bring a game and teach us. He's brought several games that we've played. That's been fun. And then we started Sleeping Gods. I liked it a lot.
Yeah.
It's cool. Did that with our Friday night game group. So far, I'm really liking it. We need to play it again. The problem with our Friday night game group is we have sporadic attendance by different people. We always have a good number of people, but we don't have the same people, and we want to play the same game, campaign game like Sleeping Gods with the same people. So, And when we get the same people, sometimes we get an extra person, or an extra 2 people, so then we got to find something else to play. So we've only done one night of Sleeping Gods. So far, thumbs up with that. It's been great. Dave, your friend Nathan Tinney, well, I consider him my friend too, he came down and it was my first time playing Suburbia. I had never played Suburbia before. I thought it was great. You guys have probably all played that. Have you played Suburbia, Nathan?
I have, yes.
For a long time, I know it was Nathan's favorite game, Tenny's favorite game. It's a good game. I really enjoy it too.
On your list, Andy, you have Chopstick Dexterity Mega Challenge 3000. What's that all about?
So, I got my wife to come to game night a week and a half ago, Thursday night, Nathan's game night.
It was just the 3 of us.
It was just the 3 of us the last half of the game night. So we decided to pull out Chopstick Dexterity Mega Challenge 3000. Holy crap. That game was so much fun.
So chaotic.
It was very chaotic. It was really hard to grab stuff with the chopsticks when you're too busy laughing. So you can't hold still long enough to grab the pieces out of the bowl, and they go flying everywhere. My wife had a lot of fun with that game.
One of the most aggressive games of chopsticks I've ever been a participant in. Both Sabrina and Andy multiple times tried to just tap the bowl so that everything would go flying in hopes that they would catch it in their bowl so they could say, "Ha ha!" Sabrina did it once.
She's the one that started that.
Now, didn't you guys have a little bit of an incident where you discovered lefties and righties are a thing in that game?
So Andy's a left-hander, and the way he holds his chopsticks is intrusive onto my side of the table. I had a very tough time seeing the bowl, let alone get something out of the bowl.
Yeah, apparently I need to shift so that there's nobody directly opposite of me. Apparently I use chopsticks like I write, which is weird. Which is, I think, very typical of a left-handed person, so...
I remember that game. It's just super aggressive. One time we were playing with my brother. I think it was Ashley, my brother, and we were playing it. He gave up on trying to win and just wanted to destroy other people. So anything you got in your chopsticks, he was there trying to bat it out of.
SaltCon, we're going to do a tournament. We have 3 copies of this, so we're going to be doing 3 simultaneous games. We've even got a trophy for first place that we had printed off. We're excited for that. Going to be a ton of fun. Hopefully nobody ends up with a chopstick in their eye or anything like that. Going to be good times. So.
Let's hope not.
I'm going to come with protective gloves, so that way if somebody accidentally, I'm going to look
Air
at you,
quotes.
Dave, when I say that, accidentally stab me, I'll be okay.
Final highlight is I hit my year mark as part of Meeple Nation.
Woo! And we're excited to have you. We're excited to have your game collection and your point of view and your smoked meats.
Definitely. Realized as preparing for this that I might need to find a bit of a gaming life outside of you guys because most of my gaming highlights are overlap. But I did have some of my own as well. One of the highlights for me, we got my daughter, Noodles, to come and play some games with us at Friday Night Game Night. It was pretty awesome. I owe it to Andy Poops. I don't even remember exactly how it happened. I was with Nola. Sorry, Noodles and Nola are the same person.
Welcome to the world of David and his famously abstract nicknames.
What was it when your one son couldn't write ambulance? It was the alphabet thing, and he's like, but ambulance doesn't start with an A, it starts with a W because it's wambulance.
I might have a problem, but Noodles and I were together, and I was driving, so I had her message.
She called me.
Her call to I don't remember exactly, but anyway, on the phone, Andy Poops asked her, "Oh, are you coming?" I don't think she had the heart to say no. And she came. She enjoyed herself. Played a couple of new games that she really liked. I think she would come if she had more time, but she's just really, really hard worker, busy girl in school, and she earned a scholarship. She's going away. I'm really sad, but a proud papa at the same time. This isn't a game highlight, but I'm going to brag about it. It had been a long time, and I got to FaceTime my grandbabies. We got to play lots and lots of Thunderstone Quest, which always makes me happy. And I'm liking that game more and more, especially while we're doing a campaign version of it. That's a highlight for me. Also, big time fan of this, I got to play Terraforming Mars.
No one cares.
Because it had been way too long since I played that game. Ryan and Corey DeCaria, Fennel, and Everett were playing. They had been playing it almost weekly, and I was able to make it to one of those, and it was awesome. And I was very happy. I will add to what Andy Poop said. Nathan Tinney was able to come down, his wife and one of their children, visiting some family, and he made time to come and join us, and that was awesome because I missed my friend, and it was super cool. And now, because he came down and we were able to talk about all this, and he was able to remember how awesome we are and how much he loves playing games with us, he is now coming to SaltCon in the summer. The only way he could do it was by volunteering because they were out of passes, but he was like, I don't care, I'm doing it. So they're going to be down for that.
That'll be awesome to have Nathan down for that.
A lot of my highlights were already spoken to, just like Dave said. Another one, though, was we had a summer barbecue where we were able to have Brent and some other of our normal barbecue goers come over. And we did it's not how to host. It was one of those murder mystery games we talked about a while ago. It was enjoyable because, and I don't know where it came from, but Nathan's wife, Cheryl, had the best accent. kept it up the entire time. It was wonderful.
She was trying to do an English accent, and it came out as a Southern accent. So it's kind of like Dave trying to do anything but a Sean Connery accent.
But no, it was a good accent. And it matched because I don't know how much the British sharpshooter would have fit, but Annie Oakley sure was Southern, so...
Good times.
It was a very interesting murder host party thing. It's my first one, so I don't know how they were supposed to go.
Murder host party things are always a good time.
It's much better than like actual murder, and then you have to figure out who actually did it.
It was a little bit more simple of a murder mystery than the ones I had done in the past.
This is one that Brent found that he could just print online.
It was a print and play one.
But that's what was most interesting about it, was that it was great for the barbecue because it had like a minimum of 6 or 7 people, but it scaled all the way up to like 20.
Oh, wow.
So you could have all these additional characters that you could add into the game. It was interesting, so that's why it worked perfectly for a barbecue, because people came, had to leave, and it's like, okay, who's left? Let's play the game.
Broadway murder mysteries. The one we played the last time was Murder Under the Big Top. It was a circus-themed one. I was a clown. Logan was the ringmaster. My wife was the sharpshooter. Ashley was the horse master. Brent was the mayor of the town, and there was a variety of roles.
Lion Tamer was Jim.
A wide variety, but the great thing about these is, unlike the How to Host a Murder Mystery, this one, who the murderer was random. You could play it over again, and somebody else who was the murderer may not be the murderer the next time you play it. And so you had questions that you would get asked, that information that you had to share. If you were innocent, you would answer this way. If you were the murderer, you had to answer this way. I really liked that whole twist on it, that it wasn't one person that was a murderer every time. Even if you had somebody who was like, I do not want to be the murderer, you could make it so they could be whatever role, but they didn't have to be the murderer. So it was a simple version, but very enjoyable still.
Wow, that is a lot of highlights.
We take a month off with doing Hug a Meeple Con. That adds a lot of highlights that we have to make up.
So, gaming news. We're going to be at SaltCon end of summer, and you should sign up for our events. Some of them have filled up, so go ahead and sign those up.
So, new game announcement, one that I'm excited about. Growing up, Transformers was always a big part of my youth. Renegade Games has picked up a couple of licenses that were part of my childhood. G.I. Joe and Transformers. And they announced that they were coming out with these new games using this license. They actually talked that they're going to do an RPG for each of these. I'm a little bit interested to see how that's going to work out.
An RPG for Transformers.
And for G.I. Joe, yeah.
Oh, cool.
That actually sounds pretty intriguing.
So we might have to look into those. First one to come out is the Transformer deck building game. I'm excited for this. Like I said, Transformers was a huge part of my childhood. So I'm looking forward to experiencing and playing this. It's a 1 to 4 player game. It does have a solo option. If all y'all are going to be poopy pants and not play, I could play by myself. Andy's shaking his head like he's excited for it too. So I'm looking forward to it anyway. So currently you're going to take the role of one of the Autobots. You're battling against the Decepticons. As expansions come out, you're going to have that opportunity to do versus mode where players will be able to play the Decepticons, and so you can battle it out against each other. I'm excited for it. So hopefully y'all are going to play it.
Well, you're
Yes,
good. You're
for
a
sure.
good bully, so
Yeah.
we'll play it.
Yep.
One that I'm looking forward to, that I know I've said in the past that I'm looking forward to, is now on pre-order. And that is Descent Legends of the Dark. It's open to pre-orders now.
I'm
Yes.
excited to just play that game more in general, because I've only been able to play it the one time so far.
Journeys into the Dark?
Just Descent in general.
Yeah, Descent. We need to play Journeys into the Dark, the second edition, with you more before Legends of the Dark comes out.
There's a lot
For
of
sure.
darkness there.
There is a lot of darkness.
It's just like my soul, so I think I'll blend in.
There you go.
Perfect fit. Excited for that one to come out. The 3D terrain, I'm excited for the different mechanics that I've read about that are coming out for the third installment of Descent. It looks awesome.
Also, from Fantasy Flight, a new Arkham Horror game that I'm excited for because ever since Fantasy Flight lost its rights to do the Battlestar Galactica, Arkham Horror Unfathomable predates the timeline for the current Arkham Horror card game. living card game that's out there.
Well, most of the Arkham Horror stuff happens like the 20s.
Right. This predates that a little bit, so they can introduce all new characters. But they're trying to use Battlestar Galactica mechanics into this Arkham Horror Unfathomable game. So you're on the ship, the Rise of Cthulhu's there, getting a lot of buzz about this game. It's available for pre-order too, so I really enjoy Battlestar Galactica. It'll be nice to have another game that has that kind of same pull like Battlestar and Shadows.
I like Battlestar. The theme for this game so much more draws me in. I'm a big horror fan. I love stuff with Arkham Horror. I love the hit and roll. I'm going to be all over that.
Actually, in our gaming highlights that we got to play the networks at Hug of MeepleCon, there is a new game called The Rival Networks. For the most part, the same game, but it's whittled down to 2 players. So it's just a head-to-head rival. Much of the same gameplay. The time on it's supposed to be 30 to 45 minutes. To me, when we played this, the networks, I was excited about it just because it was a new thing. It was completely new. I love when people go and take a risk on something new, and I thought it was cool. I thought it was fun. 2-player is not generally my most favorite thing because I can't generally get my wife to play. My wife works far away and way too many hours, so I can't generally get her to play with me. When I play games, it is generally with a group that is more. For me, I don't know that it's going to happen all that much here, but I'm sure if you are one that has opportunity for a lot of 2-player games, this is probably a really good one.
Novel that I have decided to rediscover, I haven't read it since 9th grade, is Dune, and I'm about halfway through it. But there is a new Dune game coming out, and if any of you are familiar with Detective: A Modern Crime board game, it is based on the same system that game is based on. Cooperative game, story-driven, but in the Dune universe. Players take on the roles of the rebels. They have to solve a series of challenges and missions with a finite amount of time and resources, and you cooperatively make decisions on how to progress the story, and you need to decide to explore different regions in the world, follow leads, leverage allies, and overcome all kinds of opposition. During gameplay, you use a variety of physical and digital game components, a deck of cards with essential clues and plot twists, a dozen handouts, and a dedicated website with additional resources that they have. It steers the narrative in a fun and surprising directions. It's going to be a truly immersive experience. It sounds really fun.
I have my copy of Detective over there on the shelf of shame. We need to bust that out. We even have an expansion for it too, so we need to play that
and see if it's worth jumping into this. I do like.
I'm sure we're going to probably get this anyways, and we'll probably play this one before we play that one because that's the way we roll.
That's true. I love Dune. I love the books, so anything thematically around Dune intrigues me.
One that I kickstarted being released to the masses, to the public,
to the little folk. The Lord has gotten his, so it's the rest of us. It's now available. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. So the poor folks like Andy may go and purchase is Bristol 1350. We haven't played it yet because new games. There's just too many of them, not enough time. Black Death is spreading throughout the town, and so you're trying to escape the city. Part of the Kickstarter was get like a 3D version. James next door 3D printed it for me. If I wasn't lazy, I'd actually paint it nice so it'd have a 3D game.
Or read the rules.
It's just sitting over there in a box. But eventually we'll get it played, and it looks like it's going to be a fun game. I enjoy the rest of the games in the series that I've gotten a chance to play. It's like the Salem 1692 that we really enjoy. We played Deadwood a couple of times. Bristol 1350.
It's a card drafting, it's cooperative, rolling some dice, placing workers. Players roll dice and work together to save the multiverse. Starting with one of the 4 starting heroes, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, Hawkeye, or Batman, recruiting allies such as Harley Quinn, The Flash, and Cyborg, complete objectives to help recover what was lost to darkness. Take out the villainous version of Batman. For some reason, I always enjoy that, where they step into an alternate dimension and fight a darker version of some of the heroes.
Bizarro Batman.
Has some really cool miniatures.
The Joker miniature with all the Robins chained to that is kind of crazy, actually.
It's a little bit dark.
It is.
And that's the Batman Who Laughs Rising.
Forgive my ignorance, but is there a different Hawkeye in the world of DC?
Hawkman?
Oh, you said Hawkeye.
Did I say Hawkeye? Oh.
Okay.
Then yes, it is Hawkman.
Okay.
So one game that we talked about on a news episode many moons ago, when it was in Kickstarter, which I did not kickstart, so I'm happy to see that it's available for order, is Masters of the Night.
You might find it on a shelf around here, too.
Well, thanks, Santa. Vampire family waking up, just trying to survive in the city. I love the horror aspect of it. As I've said earlier in this cast, the horror just speaks to me. I love the genre, and so stuff like that just gets me excited. And we're going to have to play it before Halloween, so we know which games we want to play on Halloween.
That's true. That theme definitely fits you very well. And I remember we talked about that when we talked about this game previously, that this scratches that itch for you as far as the horror theme. Your home world is running low on resources. To survive, you send teams of workers to a nearby resource-rich planet, but one with a harsh and inhospitable planet. Will your teams outperform the others to build the best mining colony? Mining Colony is a tile-laying game for 1 to 4 players, in which you use excavation cards to compete for resources, and with these resources you develop your colonies and attempt to build science stations and outposts. Played over 10 rounds. Each of those rounds consists of 3 phases. You have a Discover, the Excavate phase, and the Develop phase. And in the Discover phase, a resource card is flipped. Resources are placed on excavation zones. In the Excavation phase, players use their excavation cards to compete for those resources. Finally, in the Development phase, development tiles, which are 1 in the Excavation phase, they're all placed on players' individual colony boards. The resources, which also include ships and colonists and crystals. In the competitive game, players score points by creating best mining colony, various resources, people, and ships that are determined to be more valuable. And victory point values change from game to game, which I thought was kind of interesting. Different resources have different values from one game to another. That's one thing that's nice. There's not one, this is the resource you have to go through. This is the clear way to win every time. I like that there's that
multiple paths for victory.
There's the variety from game to game, too. Not just multiple paths to victory, but you got to play the game differently each time because different resources are worth different values from one game to the next. It sounds kind of interesting.
That's on a shelf around here somewhere, too.
Nice. Mining Colony is one that I was kind of excited to play as well.
Well, this news episode is really what Nathan's bought.
Well, hopefully this next one, then, is also on that list.
Let's see.
Well, it won't be because it's not out yet. I think we've mentioned it before in the past. It's not even actually in crowdfunding yet. It's a preview for the crowdfund. But Masters of the Universe, Fields of Eternia.
Andy's over there smiling already.
I am excited. I like when they do some of these old, kind of like you mentioned, with Transformers. I'm just excited for He-Man. I just think that's awesome. We've got a Skeletor and a He-Man miniature here that look very much like the original cartoon.
Not like the new Netflix version.
Right.
That looks really good. Wasn't a big He-Man fan, but looking forward to Andy backing it, so I can give it a try.
I probably will.
That should be hitting Gamefound on July 29th. That same day, Divinius, which is a 2 to 4 player game, competitive legacy tile laying digital hybrid game, in which you play as demigods seeking to gain the favor of the gods and ascend to the pantheon. Players embark on a 12-scenario campaign that will see them exploring lands, completing quests, interacting with gods, and impacting the outcome of an epic clash between Greek and Norse.
That's kind of cool. Have both Greek and Norse mythology in the same game. I like it.
If you like miniatures, look no further than Kickstarter or Gamefound and back something there. Wild Ascent. Lavin Rising is a reprint of the campaign for Wild Ascent. This game has really amazing looking figures in it. Lots of different characters. It's a super cool looking game. You should check it out if you like fantasy, dinosaur-esque type creatures.
That's active on Gamefound currently.
Problem is, Masters of the Universe is not a campaign game. I believe it's not. So,
How are we going to get that to the table?
what's going on with that? I don't know if I can actually back it.
Do we have some sort of code?
We only back campaign or legacy games, right?
It feels like, yeah.
No, I am really excited for that. It's anything that hits that nostalgia. The same thing with Hero Quest. When reprinted that, I had to jump on it. I'm excited. Masters of the Universe, Fields of Eternity. That one looks good.
So one last one that's coming out also on Gamefound at the same time as Divinius and He-Man, Legendary Academy. It has an interesting look to it that I'm intrigued by it. You're an ancient folklore character before this story was told. You and other characters are attending a prestigious Legendary Academy to learn the skills and wisdom needed to take your place in history. A competitive Euro-style game that combines deck building, worker placement, and dungeon crawling. Build a deck of skill cards they gain in the academy, and they go on famous quests from ancient tales like The Jungle Book, Alice in Wonderland, Gulliver's Travels. I'm intrigued. I'm not sure if I'm going to 100% back this yet, but I'm very much intrigued with this game. I think it looks really neat.
Well, especially with the playtime being 90 minutes, that seems like a lot to do in 90 minutes.
Yeah.
It's basically 2 games, from what I'm reading is correct. So you play through
The preparation,
semester,
right? Yeah.
the semester, and then you have your final of that story or whatever. It seems like a lot to get through.
It really does in 90 minutes. I would imagine you're trying to get your deck built up and then you go out and adventure. I'm with you. I'm intrigued by this. If they can actually keep the playtime to 90 minutes, that's impressive and still have it be an awesome experience.
Well, that has been quite a loaded news episode. We've learned things, we've laughed, we've cried. It's been a good time.
Till next time.
We'll see you at the game table.